The difference between compound interest compounded every 6 months and simple interest after 2 years is 248.1. The rate of interest is 10%. Find the sum. Okay. There are two interest, compound interest and simple interest. Both are, the rate of interest for both is 10% for 2 years and simple interest as well for 2 years, right? But for compounding interest, it is said that it is compounded every 6 months. Okay, so compounded every 6 months. All right, now there are two ways to solve this. First one is the traditional method, where we solve like this. First, we know that the formula for compound interest is what? P 1 plus R by 100 over T minus P. This is the formula for compound interest, right? And then the formula for simple interest is what? P and R over 100. And the question also tells us that the difference between both of them is 248. So what we do is subtract compound interest minus simple interest. So let's put in the values as well. So P 1 plus R is what? 10%, but it is said that it is compounded every 6 months. So that means we have to divide this by 2. Why? Because it is compounding twice in 1 year. So that is why we divide this by 2 over 100 and multiply by 2. And T is what? T is the number of years, which is 2 only, minus P. And minus simple interest, let's see, P into N is what? 2 into R is 10 divided by 100. Okay, now we have to solve this. Ci minus Si is what? 248.10 is equals to P. 2 5s are 10, 5 2s are 0, so LCM here is 20. 20 plus 1, we get 21 over 2 2s are 4 minus P, minus 0 0 gets cancelled, 2 5s are, so minus P by 5. Now are you getting it? Like, how much calculation is there involved in this? Okay, now we have to calculate, multiply this 21 4 times. Okay, if you are lucky and if you know the square for 21, you will still have to calculate it again in order to get the value of 4. Then there will be huge value of this in the numerator, there will be huge value in the denominator. You have to calculate this. Then there again is the value on the left hand side, which is in decimal. The calculation gets really complicated here. So what I do here is I solve this question in completely different way, not in the traditional way. This is the traditional way, and you will also find this solution, this kind of solution, in the solution at the back of your textbook as well, but I'll solve this in a different way. Okay, so now I'll tell you how I solve this. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. There is a CI, there is a SI. Both have rate of interest as 10% for 2 years, 10% for 2 years, but this is compounding every 6 months. Okay, now let's calculate first the total interest for the SI. What is it? It is easy to calculate. It is just 10 into 2, 20%. This is the total interest for simple interest. Now for this, it is a little bit tricky. I'll use the formula for cumulative percentage. The formula for cumulative percentage is what? X plus Y plus XY over 100. If you are not aware about this concept, or if you are not aware about this formula, go on YouTube and search for cumulative percentage or equivalent percentage. Look out for some good videos and you'll get to know about this concept, and you'll get to know how this formula is derived. Okay, now let's get back to solving the question. Okay, now we know that this is compounding twice a year, so that means we divide the rate of interest by 2, so that means 5%, but the total period is of 2 years. So first month, after first month, compounding 5%, then another 6 months 5%, then another 6 months 5%, then another 6 months 5%. So this become total 2 years. All right, so how will we calculate the total percent for compounding interest? So we'll use this formula for cumulative percent, but this is formula when only 2% values is given, but here are 4 values, 4% values. So what I'll do here is that first calculate for these two, then calculate for these two, then I'll get 2 values, then I'll calculate for these two, then I'll get the final value, which is the total percent. All right, this is how I'll do it. So let's do it now. Let's put this value in the formula. This is x, this is y. Okay, so 5 plus 5 plus 5 5 is 25 divided by 100, so 0.25, so 10.25 is the answer. Let's do it for this two as well. So these are the same values, so we get 10.25 here as well. Now let's do for these two. We get 10.25 plus 10.25 plus 10.25 into 10.25 divided by 100. Okay, and I've already calculated this value. This comes out to be 105 point something divided by 100. So let's cut these two zeros and add decimal point here, and this is 20.5. so the total here we get is what? 20.5 plus 1.05, which is 21.55. okay, now we got the total for compounding interest. This is for compounding interest and this is for simple interest. Okay, and the difference between these two is how much? 21.55 minus 20 is 1.55, and this 1.55 is equals to what? It is saying that the difference between both of them is 248.10. that means this 1.55 is equals to 248.1, and we are asked to find out what is the sum. Sum means we are asked to find out what is the principal. So principal is always 100%. So let's assume this is x. So let's calculate for x. We do cross multiplication. 248.1 divided by 1.55 into 100. So removing this two decimals, we remove one decimal here and add another 0. And I've already calculated this value. This comes out to be something 16,000.6 something. Wait, yeah, I get something as 16,000. I get something this kind of value. So let's approx this value to 16,000, and this is our required answer. So option C here is the correct one. I know this is a little tricky question, but this if you are in a CAT exam, you can like directly use the traditional formula and use the calculator there. But if you don't have an access to calculator, then I suggest you to skip the question, or if you know this kind of trick, then go with it and solve the question. So this is how you solve it. I told you both the tricks, both the ways to solve this. So C is the correct option. Let's go to another question now.